Hey, how's it going, guys? It's been a while. I haven't posted in just about a week. I was in Taiwan for a work trip, and well, it was kind of last minute, so I didn't have any time to record some videos while I was away. So to kind of just get back into things, I wanted to do a quick unboxing of something pretty cool. This is a knife I've seen a couple times in person. I just never pulled the trigger, and I saw it on eKnives, and I thought, hey, why not? Let's just pull the trigger here and take a look at it again and actually own it this time. So this is a pretty special knife, and I'm very excited to kind of get into it and show you. And yeah, one other thing too, we also hit 1,000 subscribers, so that's pretty awesome. Thank you guys very much for all the support and all the, I guess, the love that you guys show in the comments. I've had people comment recently saying, hey, where you at? You know, obviously I was in Taiwan, so it's nice having some people check in just to make sure everything's cool and that they're looking forward to some, more content. So that's always really nice. And yeah, I thought this would be a good chance to kind of show off something pretty cool. So here we are. I'm sure you're all aware I'm a huge sucker for these pouches. I think it's a nice touch when they include a nice carrying case for these higher end pocket knives. So I'm going to drop that knife to the side and get into some of the paperwork. I'm assuming this is just going to go over some specs and maybe, include a sticker, which is always a nice inclusion. So as you can now see, this is a NCC Knives Ragnarok. So this is a pretty cool knife. You'll see why in a second. It does come with this really nice sticker. It's kind of like a galaxy, which is pretty cool. Here are some of these specs. If you guys are interested, you can kind of take a look. You can pause if you're interested. However, we will be kind of getting into it coming up pretty soon here. So here it is. This is the knife. And there's one main reason that drew me to this knife. There's a bunch of different variations, but I don't know if you can tell why this specific version drew me in so much. If you're familiar with this channel, you'll know I'm a huge fan of Hawk knives, and more specifically the Hawk Knives Talon. I'm sure you'll understand why I brought up the Hawk Knives Talon in a minute, but getting into this knife here, we're rocking a 3¼ inch blade. It is a CTS XHP steel, and it has this really nice step milling throughout both the primary edges and then along the harpoon, along the spine of the blade too, which is pretty cool. We also have a titanium frame, which is Blasted black, and then we have this insanely smooth action. And if you haven't guessed already, the reason why I brought up the Hawk Knives Talon is because this version is actually rocking the Hawk Lock. Kind of always found that name pretty funny, but it is very functional and super solid as a locking mechanism. One of the cool things about this knife is it's actually rocking JG10 on this specific version, so you can actually see the toggle lock kind of toggling back and forth as you open and close the blade. What's also nice about this knife is there are multiple ways you can actually operate the knife. So you can use the flipper, you can use the thumb studs to, thumb flick it, or you can even reverse flick it too. Just kind of looking at this knife as a whole, I think it looks really good. I think it functions very well. I do plan on carrying this knife a bunch, so once I do that, I'll do a full review. This is mainly just going to be an overview, of course, but I did want to compare it to a couple other knives that I brought outside, and we'll start off with something very familiar. So this is the Hawk Knives Talon. I brought it out here mainly just because of the sharing of the locks. So as you can see, the NCC is a little bit smaller than the Hawk Knives Talon. I do think it's a really good size for EDC, but it is going to be a little bit smaller than that. Comparing it to something like the Spyderco Edge Roddy, as you can see, it's also smaller than that as well. I was going to compare it to something like a small Sebenza, but I totally forgot to bring it outside. That's on me. But compared to something like the Grimsmo Brask, it's going to be pretty similar in size. The Grimsmo is going to be a little bit longer overall. The Ragnarok, it comes in about 3¼ inches on the blade, and then about 7½ inches total. So it's gonna be a little bit smaller than all these knives that I've brought out, but definitely nothing to kind of fuss about. I mean, this thing is just a really good EDC, very easily carryable knife. So speaking of carrying, the clip is actually a nice milled titanium clip. It works fantastic. Put it in and out of the pocket a bunch, and it just works really well. So definitely a nice little touch there. We also have this really nice backspacer as well. And one thing I do like about this knife is the two-tone. I'm not typically one that likes two-tone blades. This one's really nice and it's well done. So you got those silver flats, and then you have the darkened portions as well. Kind of tracks across the the interface with the lock. It goes to the actual spine and the backspacer, I should say, and it just looks really good. I think, it's very well thought of, and it's definitely something it's a nice little touch when someone does something very well and they put some time, and you can tell that they actually care about their product. Now let's take a look at the actual edge. So as you can see, this thing is just razor sharp. Some people really like, the step milling on the blade. I wasn't super sure of it at first. I always thought it was going to maybe slow down the cuts, but I have a couple knives with it now, and it hasn't really affected much of the performance from what I've seen, so there shouldn't be a problem there. And just take a look at that action. It's just phenomenal. This thing is super, super satisfying to use. If you're into fidgeting with your knives, this is like the king of that, so you'll have fun doing that or whatever in traffic or whatever you guys do with it. So let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.